I know it's been a little while since I was able to put some videos up. I made that trip out to Cali, brought a bunch of parts back. So I got a lot of plans for the Dodge WC. Before I start that project, I thought there was a lot of small things that needed to get done for other vehicles. One of the things that happens when you have several vehicles is a lot of little things that just need to get done. And they start stacking up. So for about the last 3 weeks and a lot of time, all the little things on a few other vehicles that needed to get done, including the 68 Plymouth, which, you know, it actually, in my definition, it never got completed. And it's just kind of the way it went down with the 65 f100 kind of ended up taking priority. I finished that truck, so I went back, finished a bunch of different other things. So it's been a 3-week maintenance stand down, and a lot of help to my buddy Dan that made this happen. So yeah, do a little bit of a walk around, talk about different things we got done. So yeah. And the OBS crew cab. I went back, I changed the batteries. You know, surprisingly, the batteries that was in this truck that I drove across the country with was the exact same batteries that I bought with the truck. It's been on my to-do list, and it's weird how the small things that you really, hey, we got to get this done, they just kind of fall to the wayside. So connections, I'm big on having good connections on your batteries. New batteries, I always believe, look, if you're going to replace batteries in diesel, you should probably replace both of them at the same time, so they're equal. And new connections there. Also, haven't done it yet because I'm not quite done the maintenance stand down here. I'm going to convert this to an electric vacuum pump, and I have a new block heater that I still got to throw in. So another little side thing, but it's getting done. So side projects on side projects. I ended up picking up these bomber seats, and these are for the Dodge WC12. I just came across a good deal on these. An eBay seller had these unpainted, and I went ahead and, well, he made me an offer, and you know how eBay goes. They send you an offer, and then I thought about it for a couple days, and I thought, you know, I can't really build these seats for what they're selling for. So I bought the seats and then threw a coat of copper, and I've got the cushions to match. So they're just kind of sitting up here out of the way. I want to let this clear coat fully cure before I kind of bag them and put them up on a shelf, because I am a long ways from putting seats in it. But that'll be the next thing, is get started on that truck. And of course, the 65 f100. Now, I do consider this project done, but I did have to go back, add a choke cable. It starts up a lot easier when I have that choke cable in. I did start on the headliner. I still got to throw the back part of the headliner in, and I think that's about it that we played around with a little bit with this. Oh, and I did the oil change on this. First break-in oil change for a brand new motor, and that was done. Now, one of the reasons that I never actually, well, I guess the big reason was I had shipped, I was almost done with the car. I was done with the car. We did a test drive with it. Me and my buddy Evan did a lot of work on this thing. We went and did a little test drive. I had a lot of issues with the power steering box, and I was kind of out of time. I ran out of time is basically what it was. I was out in Cali. I was planning the move back over here to my place in North Carolina, and I had to get this thing shipped. So I said, no worries, I'll deal with it when I get back. And just kind of other projects kind of got in the way, and it's just kind of been hanging out here. So the cool thing is this steering box being just stuffed in here. I was able, of course, with the help of my good buddy Dan, I was able to get that steering box out without pulling the header. We did pull a motor out, move the motor up just a little bit, shim it up, and we got the box out. I ended up buying a brand new box, put a new box in it. Power steering's working like it should. But he kind of mentioned it, and I could not have agreed with him more, because the wiring was very, very sketchy. It's a 1968. It's got some time on it. So I I won't say I did it. Dan, he rewired this entire car. So we are almost at the point where we are complete. I got to figure out a couple of small little things with my charging system, and I think that's it. This is turnkey, running, power steering, and we added a radio. You can't really see the radio because it is hidden away. I did the DS18 Bluetooth little module thing, and I've got two 6x9s up there in the back seat. Not sure if it shows up too well in here because it is black interior and it's kind of dark here in the shop, but a lot of work has been done just with the rewiring process, the power steering box, and then one of the things that I kind of wanted to do with this car, and I always thought that I couldn't necessarily pull it off, was this is a satellite. This is a satellite, 68 satellite. It was GTX cloned when I got it, you know. And my buddy Evan out there was always talking about how I should make it a Roadrunner clone. And I was under the impression that, yeah, if I did that, I would need a new trunk because of the trunk panel being a panel on the car. So I was under the impression that I would have to change the deck lid because I wasn't sure. Well, it turns out in 1968 and 68 and a half that you could get a tail panel on a Roadrunner. You could get a Roadrunner tail panel. So what I did was I actually started making this thing a Roadrunner. Now, I wasn't sure that the tail panels were different. I found out after the fact. I got on Marketplace. Well, I didn't get on Marketplace first. I got online, thought I could just repop order another grill to have the Roadrunner grill. Now, this is where a lot of the Mopar things start getting in the way. And what I mean is some Mopar guys like to hoard some parts, and then you can't find parts, and parts are very expensive. Now, it turns out 68's a 1 year only. They do not repop those. And don't quote me on that. I could be wrong, but I did a fair amount of searching. I could not find one. Got on B-Bodies Only, looked around for a little bit, and I said, you know what? The Roadrunner clone idea is just not going to happen. It doesn't really matter to me. It's fine. It's still a B-Body. I really don't care. I checked Marketplace real quick. Boom. The guy's got two of them 30 minutes away from my house. So I left that night, went and picked up the grill. Thought I was out of the woods. Like, all I need now is a couple of emblems, and this thing will be ready to go. And that's when I realized that the tail panel is different. So if I take this and I look at this tail panel here, there's a difference in the tail panel. Turns out this is actually a real GTX tail panel. It's probably worth gold to the Mopar guys, which I suppose I could post it up on eBay. And I also have the tail lights that will match it. So that was one of the deals I ran into. Got on eBay, bought a tail panel, bought the tail lights, and look, now I've got a Roadrunner. And then, you know, I might have, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right. I got the 68 Roadrunner emblems and the little bird. You know, you would think that out of all the stuff I have on my plate, the last thing I'd be worried about is little emblems, but to me, it's all the little details that really makes it work. So, yeah. Oh, and the little side thing is, somebody might say, hey, that grill's supposed to be blacked out, because the Roadrunner grills were blacked out. But it turns out in 68 and a half, if you got a Roadrunner with a tail panel, that your grill was also shiny. So if you had the tail panel, you had the shiny grill. And again, this is not set in stone, because you are going to find the few that said, no, I had it the other way. But again, I'm going off of the lifelong Mopar experts over at B-Bodies Only. Just a little fun fact that I happened to come across, because I was on the fence. Do I black the grill out, or do I leave it kind of shiny? To me, if I black it out, then I might as well just blacked out the other grill I had, because you wouldn't necessarily see it. But it is kind of cool. It should be shiny if you have the tail panel. So, yeah. And if anybody wants to buy a Jeep TJ, I, for some reason, cannot sell this thing. Rust-free, Cali. Jeep TJ. Very clean, somewhat low miles, and I think it's because I was almost at the point where I was bragging how easy Jeeps are to sell, and for some reason I might just end up holding on to this thing for a very long time. So yeah. Also took a little time and put up some decor for the shop out here. As you can see, we still have not finished the paint booth, but all in time. And these are the parts that I ended up bringing back from Cali that I am excited to start on the Dodge WC. Now there is a few other little things left from the maintenance stand down that I do want to get done, but I'm kind of excited to get started on the WC. That front cowl cover piece, inner fenders, a whole nother hood. I am going to go with these coilovers up on the front to give it that that rock crawler look. And I know you're thinking, hey, it's going to ride real soft if you run these large coilovers up front. However, these coilovers were for a Super Duty. This is a high-end aftermarket kit, probably about 10 years ago at one time. So these should ride a little bit stiffer. I believe the coils are 400 on 350, so it's going to ride a little bit stiffer, which would be good because I want to street crawl. I want to street ride the Dodge WC. So, and I also have these long control arms here that's going to go in there. Frame sections. When I was out there on the way to Cali, I stopped halfway. Well, a little bit more than halfway. I stopped down in Utah to see my buddy William, who has the Dodge WC parts. And one of the things that I noticed was he had a frame that was already cut. And I said, can I get two about 16-inch pieces of frame? Because I do want to lengthen the frame. I feel like the truck is a little short. I want to... You'll see the build when it's done, I suppose. I'm gonna stretch out a little bit. Maybe a foot, maybe 10 inches. I don't exactly know yet. But just having those sections of frame, I can put that in the frame like it was never touched. Unless you're looking up on the inside with your tie-in plates, it'll look the same. Headlights are a big deal to me, especially with these trucks. It's got to have the right look. Even though it's a resto mod, there are certain things that I just won't give up. And to me, that truck in particular with a 41 Dodge WC, it just does not look the same with motorcycle headlights strapped to it. So it's got to be right. Even though it's a resto mod. Now I know a lot of people's been asking to do a walk around video with the Bronco, but you know, honestly, I didn't build this Bronco. I bought this Bronco built, so I kind of feel like doing a walk around video of a vehicle that I didn't build kind of takes the I don't know, something out of it, you know. Which there's people that do, and that's fine. That's on them. It don't bother me, but you know, it's just my preference. Now this Bronco has spent the majority of its time in the 10 years that I've owned it, kind of hanging out in the shop. I do take it out, I do drive it, but you got to remember, I left it here in the shop while I was out in Cali for about 3 years. So I've driven it here and there and started, you know, a little bit of a header leak and things like that. So this thing just kind of need a little overhaul. I swapped the header gaskets. I did end up doing a steering box a few months back, but I never talked about. And one of the things that I meant to come back and do was replace this steering shaft in here. I know that's kind of dark on the camera, but that little U-joint was really getting kind of sloppy, enough to where, you know, I really didn't want to drive it. So it was on my to-do list. Header gaskets, did a little playing around with the carburetor on this thing, steering shaft, and the Bronco is back to tearing up the streets, and it's going pretty good. My buddy Dan has an 81 Ram Charger. He's going to be using to tow his camper. He wants to do a bunch of traveling. So this Ram Charger was a pretty much of a project in itself. So in the midst of doing everything else we were doing, we also pulled his heads, basically a top end rebuild on that 318 that's in his Ram Charger. And then I went ahead and put 410 gears in it so it could tow a little bit better. And then while we were waiting on parts, we had a little bit of time. I wanted to return the favor while he was just nonstop working on the Roadrunner with the rewiring. And I said, look, let me throw a coat of paint on it. And I know we didn't have time, and I decided, look, let me just give it a 2-day paint job, you know. And I'll be honest. I see a lot of YouTube videos where these guys are doing the Rust-Oleum, 1-day, 2-day paint jobs. I'm not a fan of that. I've always thought, like, look, if you're going to do the work, do it right, And so here I am. I did a 2-day paint job on his Ram Charger. It's no beauty queen, but it's better than it was, and the tape work looks pretty good on it. So he's happy as hell. He can look a little bit more. He can be a little bit more style when he's driving down the road. And the cool thing is the Ram Charger now matches the camper, so it's pretty cool.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it.
Now, to me, it doesn't seem like we did a massive amount of work, but when you really put it together, that's 3 weeks, long days, fixing all this tiny little things, and it really does add up. And I'm sure there's a few things that I'm leaving out that we hadn't done, but it's a little bit of an update. I want to start the Dodge WC, but there's a lot of these little things that I can't let it stack up on me, because then you end up with, a yard full of unfinished things, and I try to keep a good rotation on these vehicles and keep them moving, keep them running, and it's just what I enjoy, so.